gentlemen, we are back. The Kipco British Champion Series is up and running for 2015 as we build up to another thrilling Champions Day at the end of the season. The series is already well underway, but next up, the show rolls on to one of the season's highlights, the Investec Derby Festival from here at Epsom. Coming up in the show, we're going to focus our attentions on the 3 Champion Series races coming up this weekend, the Investec Oaks, the Investec Derby and the Coronation Cup, and we'll be seeing some of these stars on show. We're also going to be hearing from the man of the moment, Newmarket trainer John Gosden. There's something a bit different as well this year, which you can look forward to. We've got a little bit of a competition. Everywhere we go, it's going to be Dixon versus Bell. Find out later who wins Challenge 1. But first, let's get into the action and reflect on the series so far, kicking off with the Kipco 2000 Guineas.
They're off. A race away then for the Kipco 2000 Guineas. Ivorwood down the centre of the course. Glen Eagles to Ivorwood in second place. Bossy Guest running a huge race. Glen Eagles in front. Territory's trying to reel him in. Glen Eagles though, and Ryan Moore have won. Blue Cedar in the blue jacket, a shot to a 2-length lead. Tiggy Wiggy in second. Here comes Ryan now on Legotissimo. Legotissimo, the blue and orange is coming home the strongest, and she grabs the lead from Blue Cedar and gives Ryan a double in the Guineas.
Brown Panther trying to get on terms. Romsdale can't go on. Then Havana beat. Brown Panther making Snow Sky fight all the way to the line. Snow Sky the near side. Brown Panther the far side. Snow Sky inching ahead. Just through strongest.
Harold trying to get through between the pair. They're just ahead of Tourmore in the light blue jacket, but as they head to the closing stages, Knight of Thunder is showing in front here. He has the advantage as they race up towards the line. It's James Doyle on Knight of Thunder. Tourmore coming back at him. Knight of Thunder.
We are here on track at Epsom, and my wingman for the series is Chris Dixon, whose football team, Hull, sadly got relegated recently, but cheering him up has been the excellent racing we've already seen this series and this season so far. More Guineas double, Knight of Thunder, last year's Kipco 2000 Guineas winner, returning to win the Lockinge. Excellent way to kick off the series.
It has been 4 races in. We're 2 races down in the mile division. The sprint division yet to really get started. In terms of horses that have made a mark on the series and likely to continue to do so, I think that Glen Eagles and Knight of Thunder, the 2 horses that have won the mile races so far, are most likely to make a long-term impression. Legotissimo, the Guineas winner, plenty to be excited about as far as she's concerned. The 1 race in the staying series so far, the Yorkshire Cup, went the way of Snow Sky, but I don't really see him as a stayer in real terms. Once the races get up to 2 miles, I think he might not quite have the stamina for that. So maybe the horse that he beat, Brown Panther, could be more of one to make a mark in that division. The sprinters, they've been seen out, but not yet in the series.
And once again, that sprint division is going to be a fascinating division to track throughout the course of the summer. Next up, as we've touched on already, the show rolls on to here at Epsom. So without further ado, let's get an update on the ground we're standing on from Director of Racing and Clerk of the Course, Andrew Cooper.
Our job is to provide a sort of even and fair playing field, and really, you know, we're under instructions in British racing to run our premier flat race meetings on sort of summer flat racing ground, and that means that we're sort of tasked with being at or near good to firm, but with the allowance that on certain courses, or with certain courses with a length of meeting of more than 1 day, that you can sort of go into the meeting on good ground or thereabouts. And that's really what we have to do with Epsom, because this place does dry incredibly quickly. So we're very often sort of goodish ground on the Friday for the Oaks, and a notch quicker for the Saturday for the Derby. And sometimes that notch quicker can be as far as good to firm in certain conditions. I mean, in terms of the build-up this particular year, it's actually been quite a difficult spring. I mean, there hasn't really ever been the volume of rain, the warmth in the ground to produce a real sort of flush with the grass. I mean, we were okay for the spring meeting, the 1 day we've had here in April, that rode well, but even since then there's been a lot of dry weather and quite cool weather as well, so the grass has grown sort of intermittently, and You know, we just sort of, I mean, it's absolutely fine, but it possibly hasn't got the sort of what I'd call the evenness of cover and colour that it sometimes, probably in a more helpful spring, would have had at this stage.
So let's get into the action, and we kick off with the Oaks. And one man in particular could be walking away from Epsom a very happy man.
In terms of the Oaks, we'll have two fillies staying in there. They both won their trials, the Pretty Polly and the Musadora. She's a big, bold filly. She likes to get on with the job. If there's a nice pace, she'll sit handy. If there's no pace and it was a small field, she's running twice this year at Newbury and at York. She's had to make her own running. You know, her pedigree doesn't scream stamina. That would be one issue. The second filly was getting to her, giving her £4, but she still ran a great race and won it. And the other filly's done nothing wrong. Jazzy Top, she won her trial down here. Again, her sister by Pivotal was a 1.25 mile filly. Was third in the Oaks, Izzy, but found her best distance at 1.25 miles. So she wouldn't be guaranteed to stay either. But she won her trial in good fashion.
A busy weekend for John Gosden. More from him a little bit later on. We're going to touch now with Chris on the Oaks. And can John make it a dream start to the weekend with either Star of Seville or Jazzy Top, Chris?
I think he might have a better chance of winning the Derby, to be honest, and the betting is suggesting as much. So far as the Oaks is concerned, Star of Seville, I think, is his main contender, but was beaten, just beat Together Forever at York, but was getting weight that day. She did idle in front a little bit, and maybe she would have won further, but her and Together Forever are closely matched, and yet Together Forever doesn't even look like the leading contender from Ballydoyle, perhaps.
No, Together Forever, a Group 1 winner from last year. The leading contender from Ballydoyle, according to the market, is Diamonds and Rubies, who was a really impressive winner of the Cheshire Oaks recently.
Yeah, she picked up well. She did have the run of the race in many ways. She was well positioned, but she stuck on really nicely late on. She will be encountering quicker ground for the first time. That'll be something a little bit different. The man who holds the key in many ways, the best man to ask about who'll win the Oaks, is Ryan Moore. If you look at the Oaks betting at the moment, he's ridden nearly everything in the top 5 or 6 in the betting.
Yeah, one horse he's ridden actually is Crystal Zvezda from Sir Michael Stout's yard, who beat Entertainment, who Diamonds and Rubies beat pretty convincingly. So there's a similar sort of form line through that horse, Entertainment. I was really taken by the way Crystal Zvezda won. For me, she's the one to be on. What about you?
Well, she would definitely be right towards the top of my list. You couldn't help but be impressed by the performance that she produced at Newbury. She got a clear run down the outside in a race that was a little bit messy, and certainly Crystal Zvezda for Sir Michael Stout, who seems to be improving, has a really good pedigree to suggest that she can make up into a Group 1 performer, is a huge contender for the Oaks, but she's second on my list.
Finally, work going on in and around us here at Epsom in the build-up to the meeting. Will the crowd that the course is being prepared for see Legitissimo do the Guineas Oaks double?
I hope so. She's certainly top of my list. I think if you'd have looked at the start of the season, Ollie, and said which classic is it for Legitissimo, you would be saying the Oaks and even the Ledger, given her pedigree. She's a relative of a 2.5 mile winner called Another Cocktail, who ran really well at Royal Ascot last year, and the dam is from the family of Ascot Gold Cup winner Fame and Glory. So there's loads of stamina in there. She did well to win the Guineas over a mile. She was helped by it becoming a stamina test, but she's got loads of class and she's going to relish the step up in trip.
Loads of fascinating runners. We haven't touched on Lady of Dubai. She's an interesting runner. She won really well at Goodwood, a number in with a chance. So take a look at the leading contenders.
Into the closing stages, Lucida in the blue jacket, a shot to a 2-length lead. Tiggy Wiggy in second. Here comes Ryan now on Legitissimo. Legitissimo, the blue and orange, is coming home the strongest, and she grabs the lead from Lucida and gives Ryan a double in the Guineas. And Crystal Zvezda the wide outside. Pomona's a bit one-paced. Montalcino coming there now. Montalcino and Jimmy Fortune, but here's Ryan again on Crystal Zvezda. He launches her down the centre of the course and she's romped up. Crystal Zvezda, 5 on the day for Ryan Moore, won it easily.
There she goes, there goes Diamonds and Rubies, quickening up in really good style here for Ryan Moore. Diamonds and Rubies has put this race to bed really impressively, and Diamonds and Rubies romps home with the Cheshire Oaks.
One of the jockeys riding here at Epsom hoping for a big weekend is Andrea Izzini, and we're going to take this opportunity now to find out a little bit more about Qatar Racing's #1 jockey.
The Ledger, some Ledger on Kingston Hill, yeah, first classic. Frankie the Toy. Now I say Jamie Spencer. Apart from me, probably Frankie. Probably David Probert. Mr. Bean. I like to ride as many wins as I can and as many big winners as I can, and I think that's the most important thing.
Next up, we're going to take a look at the Coronation Cup, and there are a host of really good horses we see time and time again in these sorts of races. Dolnea and Flintshire lock horns again. They met in Dubai and Dolnea was a convincing winner. Flintshire's sort of a perennial bridesmaid in very good races. It's going to be really interesting to see who comes out on top in that battle.
Yeah, 2 from 2 so far this season, Dolnea, and on both occasions has had Flintshire in second spot. And as you say, he's finished second on so many occasions, including in this race last year when he was behind Cirrus de Zegler. But he does have that crucial experience of this track, which Dolnea doesn't have at this point. There wasn't much between the pair of them at Shaun T. There was more distance between them in Dubai in the Shima Classic. However, is that because Dolnea is improving, which she might well be, or was it that she had a tactical advantage on that occasion? I think the pair are quite closely matched, and the weights are slightly more in the favour of Flintshire this time than they were on each of the last 2 occasions. So I'm going to go for him to go 1 better than he did in this race last year, and to finally turn the tables on Dolnea, who, don't forget, he did finish in front of when the pair of them ran in the Arc last year.
Some real stars on show once again in the Coronation. Let's take a look at the leading contenders.
Dolnea hit the front at the 200 metres mark, led from Flintshire. Designs on Rome out wide, but Dolnea's in front. Flintshire's trying hard. It's Dolnea in front of Flintshire. It'll be a French 1-2 in the Dubai Shima Classic.
And Tagruda's going to have to stretch here because Tapestry, a big danger on the near side, is joining in. This could be a big upset. Tagruda's got to dig deep on the far side. Tapestry, the near side, probably just in front. Can Tagruda fight back? It'll be tight. Tapestry and Tagruda. And Tapestry has beaten Tagruda and wins the Yorkshire Oaks.
Now this series, we're going to have a little bit of fun because we're going to take you behind the scenes at each of the venues we go to, take you into the industry, if you like. And we're going to make it a bit of a challenge because I'm going to take on Chris, and throughout the course of the series you'll see who comes out on top. I am a short price favourite at the moment. How do you think you're going to get on?
The betting's probably about right, but I'll give you a run for your money, maybe.
Yeah, I've fixed this as well. What we're going to do is we're going to take you now just up the road to local trainer Jim Boyle's yard, and we're going to get our hands dirty. Jim, how are you?
How are you?
Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah,
You are?
good to see you. Well, all right.
Good, thanks.
Ready for the challenge?
Yeah, born ready. Let's do it. Okay, so the challenge is to plat Dangerous Moonlight. Myself against Chris. This could, I feel sorry for Dangerous Moonlight already. But Lou's going to give us a quick lesson, then we'll get underway.
You've never platted before at all?
No.
Right, the idea is to put it into 3 pieces. Go from the left over to the middle bit, the right over to the middle bit.
Okay.
And carry on down. Fold it and put a band in the bottom, and then put another band on the top. Okay. That's how it should look.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Now it's my turn to see how fast I can do 2. Let's give it a go. Let's roll the sleeves up. Hello, you. Separate. 3 bits. This is going to be very tricky.
That's looking good.
It's a bit of an afro, I think I'm making. Across the band.
Is it on there tight enough?
Well, not really, but... Okay, next one, quick. Good girl, Dangerous Moonlight. So that is a beautiful plait I've just made. Right, this is going to be a good one, Lou. Right, I've done it.
Fantastic.
4 minutes 10.
4 minutes 10, yeah, good job.
Fantastic.
That is truly appalling. Chris, come in. Best of luck.
Thanks. Hello. All right. What are you laughing at, Ollie? Not the best, but there we go. Ollie's terrible efforts are getting in the way. I think that's part of the problem.
Look at that.
Oh no, stop
Oh,
it. How have
we're
you
there.
done that? There we go.
5 minutes 44.
So let's get the scores from Lou. We had scores for time. We know that I was quicker, so I'm in front there. Now, take it away, Lou.
Right, I think for the best plat, it's got to be this one here, obviously, because it's quite tight. So that will have the full 10 points.
So that's Chris's. 10 points for Chris.
Yeah, unfortunately, the second one is also this one here. I think he panicked a bit on the time, but if he just rolled that one, he would have been there.
Well, I think that means that I've won.
Look out.
Well done.
How has he won that?
Well done.
That's a joke. Right, 1-0. Annoying that. Right, challenge, 1-0 Dixon. I'll get him back next week. And next up, it is time to turn our attentions to the big race. And we can hear once again from John Gosden, who's got a really strong hand in the Derby this year.
Well, you never think you're going to have a strong hand, and I always think you probably, it's never as strong as you think. I think at the end of the day, I remember once round past saying, I got 6 and I don't know which is a Derby horse, usually means you haven't got one. So I think, one horse has come through strongly. At York, he's come together in his work and in every sense. And so, he has to be supplemented. I know there's been a lot of debate about his pedigree and stamina, but he relaxes well. And he's always been a horse, we did put him in, he wasn't put in the Derby as a yearling, but I put him in the Prix de Jockey Club and Smart Races back in February, and that was just one Nottingham maiden win. And then Jack Hobbs will stay in the race. He obviously didn't race till December the 27th, day after Boxing Day at Wolverhampton. And he's a progressive horse, but he's still a little bit the work in progress. He's still learning a lot. Got a little imbalanced, and whether he'd be the physical type for Epsom is a debatable moot point. But I did say at York the other day he could also be a horse, for Ascot. So, yeah, we got 2 nice horses, and they'll be the 2 staying in.
Chris, we heard from John there, and he must be the envy of all the trainers up and down the land, having Golden Horn and Jack Hobbs in your armoury, ready to go to war here at Epsom. It must be fantastic, mustn't it?
Yeah, it must be. It's rarely as simple as this, but the Derby looks there for the taking for his stable at the moment, but there is a strong challenge elsewhere. I do feel, however, that he does have the real key contenders. The Derby trials, it took a long time before a winner of a Derby trial, a horse out of a Derby trial, really stamped their authority on the race and the anti-post betting for it. But that happened after the Dante. Going into it, it looked the warmest of the trials. That has often been the case in recent years as well. And it certainly proved to be the case in terms of the trials, the one that had the greatest impact. And Golden Horn was very impressive.
For you, was he far superior to Jack Hobbs?
Well, Jack Hobbs still looks to be learning, and he's a horse who might still take a big jump forward at any given point. But you had to be impressed by the way that he quickened up. He looked like a serious horse, and he has done right the way from that debut success at Nottingham. His trademark is that ability to quicken, but I don't think that he's going to be inconvenienced by a longer trip. Indeed, his pedigree suggests that he might well improve for it, so there should be more to come from him, and he's the one to beat.
And when we were here last week for Breakfast with the Stars, the way Jack Hobbs strode out over the turf was really impressive, caught everyone in the media's eyes, and they went, we're dealing with a serious horse. We know that, but there's cases to be made for him reversing the form. What of the other challengers outside of John Gosden's runners that have caught your eye?
Well,
have Cornwall got a strong team?
Yeah, they've got a reasonably strong team, but no standout contender. Kilimanjaro won the Lingfield Derby trial, but was unimpressive in doing so, I felt, wearing the hood and taking a long time to get on top. He's a horse that's going to need to improve quite a lot, you would imagine. Hans Holbein would be their main contender, I think. He won his trial, he won it in good style, and the form of that took a little bit of a boost with Storm the Stars coming out and winning on his next start at Goodwood. And he's a potential outsider to consider, though his connections in the immediate aftermath of that race felt that maybe the Derby would be a test too soon. They may well take their chance anyway, but he'll need to improve again.
The one horse we haven't talked about yet is Zorak, and Dermot Weld is hugely complimentary about this horse's ability and talent. I guess the question mark with him, given that he was a really impressive winner over a mile, is the 1.5 miles. How will he go over the longer distance?
I think it's a doubt. I think he'll definitely get 10 furlongs and possibly even want 10 furlongs. And you can't really knock his form. He's 2 from 2. He beat a horse very easily on his most recent start in a 2,000 Guineas trial, who went on to finish second to Glen Eagles in the Irish 2,000 Guineas. So that form looks good, but the stamina for this trip is a little bit of a doubt, I think.
Well, one man who'll be hoping you're right, and one man who's hoping that the form from the Dante is reversed is Andrew Balding, who is the trainer of Elm Park, a leading player on his 2-year-old form. He didn't run that badly on his return in the Dante. We can hear from Andrew and Elm Park's prospective jockey Andrea Atzini now.
I mean, he improved with every run he had last year, and I'd like to think that would be the same, the case this year. And the Dante was a very strong race this year, and particularly from a fitness point of view, it was quite a grueling test. Really, it was a strongly run race, and I was delighted with the way he ran until he got tired. So look, he was beaten by 2 good race fit rivals, and there's no doubt of that. But I think the thing, he was a little bit fresh and free early in the race, and he visibly got tired in the last 100 yards, which probably cost him another couple of lengths proximity to the winner. So we still got ground to find on them, but I hope we will get somewhere near it first Saturday in June.
It was his first run back of the year. He's a big horse. First and second, they both had run this year, so they were a bit more fit than my fella, and so I think the race will bring him on a lot, and it was a proper trial, running good pace, and my fella travelled good, was a little bit fresh early on, and I hit the front sort of 2 out, and I thought I was going to I didn't think I was going to win, but I thought I was going to sort of hold on Jack Cobbs, but my fella sort of faded the last 100 yards and he got tired, so he's entitled to come on a lot from that.
Best of luck to Andrew and Andrea with Elm Park coming up in the Investec Derby. Chris, final word from you. What do you think, or who do you think is the most likely winner of the Oaks and the Derby?
I think John Gosden holds the aces so far as the Derby is concerned. It's pretty obvious to say as much, but I think that Golden Horn is the one that will emerge victorious and take the Derby. So far as the Oaks is concerned, Crystal Svedza and Legatissima look the key contenders, but I think Legatissima can back up her Guineas win.
Good stuff. Thanks for your work today. We'll be back next time for Royal Ascot with our top hats and tails on, if Chris can find a top hat big enough. That's it from now. Roll on the Investec Derby Festival. It is going to be a belter.